Hello, everybody. Welcome to A Bettors Life. I'm your host, Anthony Jaskulski, here at the Pittsburgh Sports Live studios, and we're going to talk about all things, you guessed it, gambling. So, I guess let's just get right into it and talk about, what I want to do is I want to keep everybody honest, because I think anybody can pick winners, and that's the first thing that I think anybody should know who's dabbling into the whole gambling world, especially on sports gambling, is anybody can pick winners. But it's the person who can manage their money the practical way who's going to come out of this on top. So I'm going to give a lesson every week, and I'm going to teach it by example through a way I've done it. So through my own futility is how you're going to learn about, just how to hang on to your money, because I might only be 30 years old, but damn it, I've been through hell, and Vegas has horror stories of just chewing me up and spitting me right back out on the tarmac at McCarran International. So the first thing I would like to teach is that, and this applies to anybody who's going to be going down to West Virginia. Wheeling Island just applied for their license, their gaming license. It's been delayed right now, though they don't really have an answer why, though usually when it's delayed, it's because it's about a week's worth of red tape that they got to get through. So I would say in the coming week, 2 weeks maximum, you're going to have sports betting at Wheeling Island. And that's only a stone's throw away for most of us. So, but if you're going to New Jersey, Oceanport, Monmouth, Charlestown's offering gambling, it's everywhere now. The problem is you have so many distractions. Distractions being baccarat tables, craps tables, blackjack, Texas Hold'em, anything you can imagine. They're just throwing it at you. You can never make a clean escape from the sports book. Never was that more evident in anybody's life but mine when I won $10,000. I went 9-0 in college basketball. Could not miss. Every single game, I was white hot. St. John's upsetting Creighton. I had a buzzer beater 3 when the spread was -2.5 Tulane. They held for the last shot and took a 3. Just to cover for me, because the main rule is good teams win, great teams cover. So I did great. I was having a phenomenal day. This was back in, I'd say, 2013. Could not miss. I hit every game. $10,000, go over to the craps table, win another $2,000. I had, at that point, everything just go on a downward slope. A lady of the night, if you will, came up to me while I was at the craps table rolling. This was about $2,000 up at the table. So let's say, let's round it off and say I'm at $12K total, okay? Now, friends, this is why you never get distracted, because I handicapped 9 college basketball games with pure, just impeccable knowledge, and everything went the way it was supposed to go. I should have withdrawn from the night, but I refused to. I went to the craps table on a high. I won. I thought I could not be beat. I must have bought a suit that day. I was looking fresh. I got a haircut that day. I was looking Vegas high. This was at the Aria, by the way, in Las Vegas. So, yes, a lady of the night, a prostitute, if you will, came up to me and tried to, solicit bad behavior. And I, turned her down, because let me tell you, the only thing that gets in the way of booty is the almighty green dollar. Everybody knows that. If you're on a heater, nothing interrupts the heater, not anything. Comes up to me and says, "Oh, Daddy, you're doing so great. You're looking so good. You're winning." She's looking at my chip stack, on the craps table. You know how that's out for everybody to see. And I'm like, yeah, shut up, baby. I know it. I'm killing it. You don't have to tell me. But no, she goes up there and she starts telling me, "Oh, you're doing so good. What, you want to maybe buy me some breakfast or something?" Because, yes, of course, it was about 1, 2 in the morning at that point. And I said, no, I'm rolling the dice right now, and I'm doing pretty good. Please, just leave me alone. She keeps going. She's very persistent, this one, and I give her credit with 2013, cameras everywhere, the eye in the sky watching all, and she's just going at it. And, she says, no, come on, you need a break now. You need all that. And I said, no, I do not need a break. I'm good. Everything's fine. So what happens is I had two $500 chips and a $1,000 chip sitting at the end, of course. I didn't have it in the middle where you're supposed to have it. Your denominations, you're supposed to have the less on the outside. So just in case somebody swipes those things, she took my highest denomination chips, two 500s and a $1,000 chip, grabbed them right up, walked away. Like nothing ever happened. Nobody noticed. Nobody was wiser for it. I noticed it after I was done rolling. And I said, whoa, wait a minute now. Something's wrong here. Somebody just stole money from me. This can't be, So I go up to the cage and I ask, the friendly cashier, hey, over there. He's like, what are you pointing at? I said, over there, over at that craps table. Oh, Pit 4. Yeah, whatever, Pit 4, sure. I said, somebody stole my money. And he says, are you sure about that? I said, yeah, she was a hooker. I know she did. And he's like, okay, hold on. You're going to have to fill out a police report. Let me just ask you right now, are you married? And I said, no, I'm not married. He said, do you have a girlfriend back home? I said, no, I don't have anything like that. I said, a hooker stole money from me. And he said, well, I just want to know because this could tarnish relationships and marriages, buddy, when we do this. And I said, hey, no, she wasn't in my room. I said, no, she never made it up there. I said, I was playing craps at the Aria and I got money stolen from me. And he's smirking at me like, yeah, I'm sure. And I said, I swear to God, I'm a good-looking fella. I could pull it off on my own. So finally, we go back and forth. He says, listen, the police report, and this is another tip for you Vegas goers. This is the truth. God's honest truth. He said, it's not like it is in the movies. In fact, it's a lot worse in real life because really the casino is only concerned about their money, not your money. So he said they can look at the tapes, they can rewind and see who she is and whatnot, and I'm sure facial recognition, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, CSI, nobody cares. And you'll do a police report, and it'll probably go for nothing. So I said, you know what, then I'm going to take matters into my own hand, the vigilante that I am. And I went over to the baccarat table, and I put down, because these were $2,000 worth of chips that I lost, I put down $750, $750, $750, and $750. Actually won a profit back 4 times on the player. Hit it all 4 times. Win, 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 win. So there you go. I got that back. 12 hours later, I lost every single cent. The entire thing. I played baccarat again, felt like I could never be touched, could never be stopped, lost the entire thing. And I'll tell you what, I did it in less than an hour. And if you don't think that's possible, it is, because when you lose, let's say a $100 bet, it feels like you're losing a $500 bet. When you win a $75 bet, it feels like you lost $1,000. That's just how it goes in Vegas. Okay. So that's the lesson to be told there, okay? You walk away when you're up. I know it's hard to do that. Avoid the table games. Stay fresh. Stay in the sports book. That's where we belong. And that's going to be where we go to our first big play. Our first big play is going to be Virginia Tech +4 and the money line against Duke. That's a play where I'd say put the absolute house on it, put the kids on it, put the dog on it, put the picket fence on it. And I'm not, I don't want to get anybody's, gambling addictions on fire here. But I'm just saying, this is a really, really good play. Virginia Tech, obviously coming off a brutal loss to Old Dominion. An embarrassing loss to Old Dominion, a team that got torched by Liberty, a week before that. But, you can't look at it through that myopic lens that the public does. Public bettors, Jeff Sherman, who's a good friend, he's the account manager at the Westgate Superbook in Las Vegas. He made it quite simple when he said, the betting public is stupid. And they are. They're not, they're the way that people the way that the majority of bettors in this country look at things is how you and I would just see, I don't know, how you and I would just walk into a game on Sunday and say, we're Steeler fans. Oh, yeah, Steelers are going to win. I mean, that's all there is to it. You don't really have a reason why. You just root for the team, right? Oh, yeah, it's the black and gold, Big Ben. They're great. They're the Steelers. That's who they are. They're at home. They can't lose. That's how your better thinks. And usually it's regionalism. A lot of times, when Monmouth opened up, which is right outside of Philadelphia, which is right outside of New York, Philadelphia-based teams, Philadelphia Phillies caught, I'd say, an average of 82% of their bets on a nightly average. So, yeah, regionalism is heavy. All people have to say is, oh, it's the Phillies. I always wanted to bet on the Phillies. Now I get the chance to. That's how people do things. When you look at the Virginia Tech and Duke game, all it takes are a couple red flags, and that's, let's see, Duke is finally ranked. Duke is 4-0. Virginia Tech lost to Old Dominion. Okay, I'm good. I'm going to bet on Duke. And that's what people are thinking. They're not putting 2 and 2 together to figure out, Virginia Tech has the better defense. Virginia Tech has the better offense, the better quarterback, the better running back. It goes on and on and on. It's so lopsided. Just because they're playing this game in Raleigh, it shouldn't take away from the fact that Virginia Tech is hands down the better team. So that's a huge bet. I mean, that's the biggest of the biggest. I don't know what we're going to call that yet, but it's it's the pick of the week, pick of the month even. Go with Virginia Tech and the money line. After that, we'll go to another play. Utah, -1.5 at Wazoo, Washington State. It's one of those, whenever I see -1.5 on the road, I kind of get giddy a little bit because it's like the odds makers know exactly what's going on here. The odds makers know that the away team is just so much better, but they want to try, the idea of setting a point spread is to get an equal amount to bet on each side so that you could come out on top with the juice. But here with this Utah game, you see -1.5, and you're just like, oh boy, what's going on here? Mike Leach finally got things turned around. They're averaging 377 yards in the air. I mean, their passing attack is just eviscerating everybody. Doesn't matter when it comes to Utah, who's going to come down at the end of the year. They're going to have the top 5 defense, probably a top 5 secondary in the country. This is the team that's given up, less than 280 yards a game right now. They're absolutely just stifling opponents. I don't think anything's going to change in Pullman come Saturday night. So if I'm as confident as I am on Virginia Tech, I'd dial it down just a few steps and say yes, Utah absolutely to the house. I also like the under 50 in this game. A lot of people are handicapping this thing to go to about 70 points. But I'm telling you, you're going to look at it the first couple drives, you're going to see Utah, and you're going to say, wow, these guys aren't like anything else Washington State's played this year. I'm jumping on board. By then, you might be too late. That spread will go down if you're live betting, like some of us do. I'd jump on it now. I'd grab 50. You can probably get it at 51 at some books. Right now, at William Hill, it looks like a lot of people are backing Washington State, and I can see why. I can see, Mike Leach is one of those names. You throw out a name like Mike Leach, it's so funny. It's like it's kind of like hashtag in the betting world. You hashtag a Mike Leach, all of a sudden everybody jumps on board. They all know it's trending. It's trendy. So you know what? I got to bet on it because I know that guy. He's a good coach. And look, they're passing the ball all over the place. But nobody's thinking. Nobody's thinking about Utah's defense. They're not thinking about that nickel package. It's just going to absolutely destroy a fresh quarterback like this. If you just peel back a few layers, it doesn't take this brainiac handicapping where everything's esoteric and I have no idea what's going on here with these numbers and stats and formulas. It's not that. It's just a simple peeling back of a few layers to find out, wow, okay, Utah is the better team. Virginia Tech, they're the better team. So there you go. There's two plays we're going to go with. We're going to be fading the public on both of them, which is something I like to be in that boat. I like to be against them. With Virginia Tech sitting at 39%, taking 39% of the bets. So that means Duke's getting pounded too. So there you go. Those are two. We'll go to Sunday. I hate doing this. I hate sounding like a local Yinzer because, especially in the first show. But it is what it is. We're going to have to go with the Steelers -3. I think it's an absolute gimme of a play. Once again, it's a line that wants people to take both ways because people see -3, and the first stereotype you think of when you got -3 is those are even odds. Everything's -3. Everything's always a field goal advantage to the home team in the NFL, which is absolute nonsense, but it's the truth. So they want you to look at this as an even game, coin flip of a game. And I can understand why a lot of people were thinking that way. I can understand why a lot of people would say, you know what? Baltimore's the better team here, right? I mean, the Steelers are struggling. I almost lost to Tampa Bay. Yeah, the offense is great, but that defense is an absolute nightmare. Night games, the Steelers always put it together. I don't know what it is about primetime. They're 11-0. They're 11-0 in their last 11 night games against the spread. I'm not a trendy bettor, but that thing speaks volumes right there. Joe Flacco and the Ravens, their last 3 primetime night games against the Steelers, 0-3. They got crushed all 3 times. It's just how it's going. I don't know what it is. There's something in the water, I guess. But don't fade it. Trust the trend. I don't say trust the trend a lot. It's not something that's going to trend around here, is me saying that, but it's the truth. Trust the trend. Take the Steelers -3. Be content with it. That's probably your best bet for Sunday. I would go all in on that one. That's usually I'm only going to give one NFL pick. I'm not big on the NFL. I can't stand the NFL in itself a lot. You know, I don't like the product of what it's become, especially when we don't even know what roughing the passer is anymore. You can't tackle anybody. You can't look at a quarterback funny anymore. You're going to get a flag for that. We still don't know what a catch is, but luckily the roughing the passer has made us all forget about just what a catch might and might not be in the NFL. There's just so many damn question marks in this league. I think it's outrageous. Saturday for me is by far the best product you're getting on the gridiron. So I will keep it local, and we'll go with Central Florida and Pitt. Pat Narduzzi going against a ranked team on the road seems like it's a good idea. I wouldn't trust it. Not against Scott Frost's team. I think that Central Florida is going to end up undefeated. They're still not going to get into the. Top 4 this year. I don't think to have a playoff berth. So I wouldn't worry about that. Pitt 1-3 against the spread this year. Definitely expect them to go 1-4 against the spread. I'm not saying it's a pick of the week or anything, but if you're one of those people that have to, be a regionalist, you have to bet on your local team because that's just what I do. Hey, do your thing. Go against them though. You fade Pitt big time here. Mackenzie Milton has got the 5th best offense in the country, 587.8 yards a game. And you think that's going to change against Pitt? No, that's not. -13's the spread. Central Florida running away with this one. I don't know if Pitt's going to turn it around. I know they're over and under this year. Win total over and under was 5. If you're sitting on 5 right now, you're kind of nervous because you look at the upstart Duke Blue Devils. Can Pitt beat them? You look at Virginia, who's rattled off a couple wins. One against Louisville. Can they beat them?
everything's question mark right now. Who can Pitt beat? Syracuse, Eric Dungy, that's literally all Syracuse has, but is that enough to beat Pitt right now in that very suspect, leaky defense? I think it is. So if you're sitting on over 5, I wouldn't expect to cash that ticket. I don't, and that means if you are cashing that ticket, this team's going to be bowl eligible. Do we expect to see them 6-6? I don't know. I'm not favoring towards yay on that one. I think this is a 5-7 team all the way. Maybe 4-8 at this point. I won't lose hope on covering your regular season win total. Then you go over to a game that really matters, West Virginia and Texas Tech. Will Grier, probably the best player on the East Coast right now. I'd give him that. I'd give him that nod. Right now he's 4-1 on the Heisman Trophy list, so those are pretty good odds for him, and rightfully so. The guy's just absolutely shredding secondaries right now. He's going against T.J. Vasher and Texas Tech. They're going to be in Lubbock, but it's impressive because West Virginia's -3.5. That's a tough place to play, clearly, especially when you have a total sitting at 73. When a total 70 or more in Lubbock, Texas, Texas Tech has won 8 of those last 9 games. That's saying something. When there's no defense on the field, count on the Red Raiders. I don't think that's a trend we're going to stick to, though. I think West Virginia -3.5 is the right play. I know the hook could scare a lot of people, and we get into the second lesson here, and that's shopping for the correct line, okay? Never more was that evident than with the Rams on Thursday Night Football. Of course, the game ended -7. It pushed for most people. Had you caught that line, because this isn't horse racing, okay? This isn't pari-mutuel wagering. This is actual lock it in when I get it, which is the beauty part of sports gambling. If you caught that line when it opened up, you had the Rams -6.5. You'd have won on the hook. You would have won on that. I can never stress enough. Have multiple books. Not encouraging online sports betting, but you gotta if you can do so, if you have the option of variety, please jump aboard. Always have multiple books. Always have multiple lines at your fingertips. Why take -7 when you can catch -6.5? You're gonna get the same thing with West Virginia. -3.5. Some books are going to offer it at -2.5, okay? You have to continue to watch a line like that. I could see this game coming down to a field goal, absolutely. You can also buy that line with the right amount of juice. I'd say if you bought it down to 2.5, you're probably paying -180. So is it worth it to shell out that extra $60, $70 for the instead of paying your conventional -110 juice? Absolutely. Absolutely. You'll have the peace of mind in a field goal game. So I would recommend buying it down. If you can't buy it down, that's fine. Get it at -3. Get it at -3.5, and just hope that this is a game that ends on a touchdown. But always put the odds in your favor. Like I said, this isn't horse racing. This isn't a horse that's jumping into the stall at 6-1, and he comes out 30 seconds later and he's 8-5 favorite. And I'm sure any horse racing gambler knows exactly what I'm talking about. Pure misery, but that's how it works. Sports gambling, we don't have to worry about that. So we go to the biggest game, the absolute biggest game of the schedule, and that's what's going down in Happy Valley. Penn State, Ohio State, gonna be, I think, just high scoring. You got literally number 1 and number 2 best offenses going at it right now. Surprisingly, Penn State, they're ranked in the best when it comes to total yards, 580 plus. They are the best in the country right now as far as total yardage is concerned. And I don't think that's going to end. I especially don't think it's going to end on Penn State's defensive side, which is completely suspect, other than a complete self-destruction of Pitt in the second half. Penn State has showed no Flex Seal-worthy patches
to fix the leaks in this, especially in their secondary. So when you see the total at 70, be so happy that it's still at 70 because it opened at 66.5. I thought that this number could get as high as 73. I still think, what are we at now? 9 in the morning? I still think that throughout the day, you're going to see that number get higher. You're probably going to see it get to 71, 71.5. I think that you're going to see this game end on the averages of what these two offenses have been putting up combined. That's 77 points combined between the two. I think you're going to see that go down tonight. I think you're going to have about 77, 80 points thrown out on that field when it's all said and done. This thing's going to be an absolute pinball of a matchup. I know a lot of people feel like the defenses are going to get turned on for a primetime game, whatever it is, nighttime at Happy Valley, blah, 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 whatever. No. This thing's going to go back and forth just how everybody wants it to go. Ohio State sitting there at -3.5. That's another one of these West Virginia, Texas Tech lines, where you got two teams ranked right next to each other. They seem like they're side by side. I think Urban Meyer owns James Franklin. I think he's shown that in the past. I think that last drive last year where it just looked like they were toying with Penn State's defense, like they knew the whole time, we got this, don't worry about it. You can't cover the read option. You can't cover us east to west. A lot of that same stuff's going to happen here because look what Appalachian State did to Penn State's defense east to west. They couldn't stop them on their options. Couldn't stop them on a jet sweep. There's much better personnel with Ohio State. I would be afraid to take. I wouldn't be afraid to give the points in Happy Valley. -3.5 is nice. I could see Ohio State being as much as a 7.5, 8-point favorite if this was in Columbus. I wouldn't have been afraid of that either. I think a lot of times when you get to now week 1, week 2, I think that crowds, I think that noise, I think, being on the road plays a factor. When we're at week 5, when we get into week 6 and so on, your teams are more seasoned. They're more of a unit. They're more together. Aside from a few false starts or maybe encroachment penalties, I don't think that this hyped crowd at Penn State's going to make much of a difference for especially a team that's as professional as Ohio State is. I'm not an Urban Meyer fan. I'll never claim to be an Urban Meyer fan, but that man is one of the best coaches in college football. He'll have those kids prepared. He always does, especially for primetime games. I'd give the points in Happy Valley. -3.5. Once again, that is not a certified, verified pick of the week, but it's certainly handicapped that way. So there you have it. There's your plays. If we wanted to take a look at a few futures, I would say, if we're looking at baseball, I think now, more than ever, is the time to jump on board for the Colorado Rockies. I keep hyping them up. I've hyped them up everywhere I go. It's as if they're sponsoring me. They're sponsoring my everyday life, and I just hype the hell out of them. But you know what? They deserve it. This team has won 8 in a row. They live and die with an ace who I'm not gonna put in Mad Bum status. I'm not gonna give him Madison Bumgarner honors. I think that what we saw with that, especially what he did to the Pirates in the wild card, going all the way into Kansas City and pretty much winning that series on his own. I don't think we'll ever see something like that again. I'd put him on the level of a Jake Arrieta, though. I think that this guy, and especially in the NL, where there's a lot of volatility, there's a lot of inconsistencies in the NFL. NL. I don't think that, you look at the American League, who I can almost guarantee is going to win the World Series. And I think even if Oakland, its weakest link, its Oakland Athletics, make it to the World Series somehow, which I'm sure we're all rooting for, they would win a 7-game series against anybody that the NL throws out. That being said, what better time right now than to jump on the Colorado Rockies bandwagon? Right now it looks like they're lined up to play, and they can still catch the Dodgers in the NL West. But right now, right at this very moment, is the best time to get them to win the NL pennant because you can still catch them at 10-1 odds to do so. That's incredible odds. All right, you can't beat that for anything.
So now's the time to jump on board. I got $100. Why not? That's what I'm doing. I already fired 200 off on them. I couldn't help it. I couldn't resist. I caught them at 12-1 and 10-1 respectively, and I'm not letting go of that feeling. So this is the right offense. They're clicking at the right time. They actually, for once in the history of balls flying out of Coors Field, have the bullpen that can survive a wild card game. It looks like right now Milwaukee's going to be hosting that wild card game, which is even better because I think Miller Park is the right place for that bullpen to be. I think 5, 6, 7, 8 is going to be, if Freeland can get through 5 innings, which I think he can easily, I think your bullpen's going to carry the load from there on out against Milwaukee, who just, they're deep. Offensively, they're inconsistent, as is a lot of teams in the NL. I think right now your best bet is to go with the Rockies. Like I said, 10-1. You're still catching them because really St. Louis is still jockeying at right now in this final weekend of baseball. They're still jockeying for that final wild card spot. So really, the Rockies could see themselves on the other side of the fence looking in. I don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't worry about that, but the odds are going to dictate that. So catch it there. Thank me later, because I did call the Yankees over Cleveland last year, and we made a fortune off of that series, which was also 10-1. I also like the Indians to get out of the AL right now. They're at 12-1. They're at 12-1 to win the World Series. I'm really hyped on that team right now. I think that's something. They're a nucleus that has it all. They have it all together. They have 4 pitchers who can absolutely shut down the Red Sox, in my opinion, and that includes Mookie Betts, who is the absolute shoo-in right now for the MVP race. They can shut them down. That's the pitching staff that can do it. How do you do it? Off speed pitching. They have it. They've got it with Trevor Bauer, with Carlos Carrasco. That's a team that's got the depth that can pull it off. You're telling me you're going to give me 12-1 on that? I'm going to take that all day. So those are your 2 baseball future bets. Jump on them now. Get them now. Get them while they're hot, because things will change tomorrow. The Rockies could clinch their magic number tonight, and then all of a sudden, boom, those odds go down to, 6-1, 7-1. It's all about being early as a bettor. You have to be early as a bettor. So we'll go there. Futures for the NHL. It's never too early to talk about puck, right? Maybe it's a little too early when it's not even October yet. That being said, your Penguins are sitting at 12-1. Seems to be a popular line. 8-1 to 12-1 is always where the Penguins are sitting at. I think the Penguins are so deep this year. I think that even their 4th line is pretty desirable right now at this point. Wings galore. I think defense is still a little suspect, but isn't it always when you're at PPG Paints Arena? Doesn't matter. Let's go with let's look at that 12-1 odd. It's nice right now, especially when you have Vegas, the Golden Knights sitting at 8-1 right now. That's the biggest sucker bet I've ever heard. Naturally, you have William Hill, Caesars Entertainment, and CG Technology taking the bulk of NHL futures bets on the Golden Knights, because that's local yokels saying, oh my God, I have to get on this team. They're so good. They're the Golden Knights. I live a stone's throw from that arena. I got to bet on them. I got to have money on them. It did pay last year. If you actually took them to win the West, you made a pretty penny. I think they were some books 78-1, 77-1 odds. Sweet Jesus. If you caught that, God bless you. That's beautiful money, but you're not getting the same results this year, okay? If they make it out of the first round, then you can slap me right in the face. I don't have much faith in your Golden Knights this year. They're taking the bulk of the bets, though. That's always a good thing in the NHL. That's why I said this last year. When you have a Las Vegas team finally hitting the point spread boards, it can only benefit
the rest of us, our sharp bettors in the NHL who are looking at the other teams that are outside of Nevada. Because again, the betting public is not smart. They just don't know what they're doing. They look through myopic lenses. They see the silliest things. They see things that 10 to 13-year-olds see when they watch their old man sitting on the couch watching Sunday's game. Oh, yeah, that's the team. I like that team. They're good because my dad likes them. I'm betting on them. That's how it works. It's madness. It's so simple-minded, but it's the truth. Public is so silly. They're just awful. The frivolous spenders. They'll bet on just absurdities. So take advantage of that, especially when we have the Golden Knights out there. Take full advantage of your inflated lines. The Penguins tailed off over the last couple of years. Even though you got Stanley Cups here, they've tailed off as a trendy team, okay? They're right now, last year, Tampa Bay, Washington, Chicago, Las Vegas, and you had one more team that was ahead, the Rangers, New York Rangers. So you had 5 teams that were being bet ahead of the Penguins as far as total wagers intake, total wagers taken in. So the Penguins are sitting at 6th right now. They used to sit at 2nd. They used to sit at 3rd. They keep dropping back more and more and more. Why? Because you have household names. You know, Sidney Crosby, as much as a household name as he is, people often forget about that when they look at a major market, or even they look at a guy like Connor McDavid, where Edmonton sat just behind the Penguins as far as popularity is concerned in Las Vegas. So it's as simple as that, and you can catch inflated lines. You can catch the right lines at the right time, 12-1 to win the Stanley Cup for the Penguins. Who wouldn't want to take that right now? I'm looking right now. I could get it at 14-1. It's CG Technology, which is Hard Rock. I can catch them at 14-1. You're kidding me. Give me that all day. I mean, I'd put it ahead of Tampa. I'd put it ahead of Las Vegas. I'd put it ahead of Edmonton. You got Edmonton sitting at 11-1. Think when you bet. Just look. It's right in between the lines. It's right there, right in front of your face. Future bets are a really smart way, a really smart investment. I know it's a long, arduous, brutal road to have to get through all that. If you listen to me, I know I do the Paul Zeiss show every week. If you listened when we talked about futures on Pirates win total, 74.5 we got them at. You gotta be kidding me. Of course we cleared that. 74.5. Well, why? Because nobody wants to bet on the Pirates. And if they're going to bet on the Pirates, it's going to be against the Pirates. It's going to be the under, because the popular trend in Las Vegas, there's nobody who pays attention. Oh, the Pirates suck. They stink. What have they ever done? They're the worst. I don't even know. Where's Pittsburgh at? That's how public bettors think. So we caught that line at an extremely ridiculous low of 74.5. I mean, in 2015, you would have caught them at 77.5. That was one of their best teams they've ever put on the field at PNC Park. But that's just how it goes in Las Vegas. Nobody thinks about the Pittsburgh Pirates as a contender or anything like that. I'm sure we'll catch a nice line. I'm sure we're going to get them at 77.5, maybe 78.5. I don't think any higher than that for next year. You got that pitching staff coming back. Yeah, you got a few holes to plug, I think, when it comes to the infield. I don't think you can trust a guy like Colin Moran to be your third baseman. But look, Jung Ho Gung, he might be back, Maybe no more sips of the bottle for him, and he's going to give you a nice, clean, sober trip over third base. Boom, there you go. An infield to desire. Maybe just add one more infielder, and you've got a team that's going to contend again. So remember, catch the inflated lines, catch the things that look absurd. If it looks too absurd to be true, in the betting world, it actually is true. Jump aboard. That's all I got for you this week. Happy betting. I'll have all my picks posted on Twitter. I'll have another story for you next week on how to be a good boy and good girl out there. Be a promising money management gambler. anybody can pick the winners. It takes a true champion to practice money management. I'm going to preach it all the time. I'm going to make you a better Pittsburgh, okay? 1 week at a time. Enjoy the games this weekend. I know I will.